what you get when you put two Netflix stars into one show? Well, you get Barcelona, which is a new show playing in London, currently starring Lily Collins from Emily in Paris and Alvaro Morte from Money Heist. As much as I wanted to love this show and these two actors in them because this is their West End debut, my mind and opinion about it is very much split. So in this video, I'm going to share 3 reasons to go and check it out, and also 3 reasons why this might not be the best show for you. If this is your first time on my channel, then welcome. I'm Christina. I love going to theater, and this year I'm on a mission to see 52 shows in the West End, and this is where I share my experiences, tips and tricks, and all things related to theater. So if you like the sound of it, make sure to subscribe. Let's start with the plot, and I'm going to try and stay away from spoilers, but this is what it says on the website. 2009, late night in Barcelona, an American tourist goes home with a handsome Spaniard. What begins as a carefree one-night stand becomes a high-stakes clash of intention and desire as the personal and political intertwine. It is really interesting how, from just what you read on the website, this sets out the story to be a bit of a mystery. And there are a lot of these mysterious elements and kind of plot twists as we go through the story, and that is probably the most engaging part of this plot. It is very much about 2 people who meet at the given moment as Irene and Manuel, and then leave a few hours later from hanging out with each other, being completely changed and just connected to the way that they will never be connected to anyone like that again. That is pretty much the premise of the story. It is one of those stories that makes you think about those chance encounters and how sometimes those encounters really change you. And it could be that you meet someone for just a brief period of time, such as a few hours, but something that they say, something that they do, or maybe just even them seeing you not as a person who all of your friends know as, but as a complete stranger, relieves that element of being who you really are and not being what other people think you should be. There are definitely some deeper elements that are discussed here. Some of them are very much related to personal relationships and family relationships, as well as loss. But then there's also a certain element where like political conflicts and just different understanding of American and European points of view are put in clash. So there are a lot of different themes that these 2 characters are dipping into. So what are the reasons to go and check this play out? I think that the first and the biggest draw for this play to go and see it are these 2 actors. If you're a fan of Lily Collins, or if you're a fan of Alvaro Morte or the shows that they were in, you should go and check it out. This is a very unique time to go and see these 2 stars together. It is just the 2 of them in the play, and I personally was drawn to the play because of that. It is a really interesting time in the West End where there are a lot of great big names making their West End debuts, and seeing them for the first time in stage production in London is something special. I think that you will be very much impressed by Lily Collins because she is, as you know her from Emily in Paris, having a very similar role to that of Emily in the show. In this particular show, she's called Irene, and she's also an American, and she's on a Hindu, and she is bringing all of that over-the-top behavior that you could also see in Emily in Paris. She's embodying American stereotypes as much as she can in this character as well, and she's very bubbly and talks 100 miles an hour. She is perfect for this role. I do think that there's a little bit of a missed opportunity to really allow her to shine as something that is outside of her like typecast, but that is a whole another story. When it comes to this role and delivering what's written in the script and delivering what she needs to deliver as an actor, she's pretty good and believable in her role, and she feels really comfortable owning the stage and owning the role, especially because the role of Irene is what gives the dynamic to this duo. Manuel, played by Alvaro Morte, is more withdrawn character and definitely talks less, so there is a lot that is on Lily's shoulders to deliver the beat of the show, and every time you feel like the energy is dropping, she's the one who picks it up rather than him. On that account, the bottom line is that if you like Lily Collins and if you're a fan of Emily in Paris, then you will be able to almost see her deliver a very, very similar role. Just this time it is set in Barcelona. The rest are just a few circumstances that are slightly changed. When it comes to Alvaro Morte, I think that he is also very good in his role, but I do feel it's again like a very typecast, stereotypical way to cast him in a role in the West End. He's playing a Spanish man. I feel it almost removes an element of him as an actor being able to deliver something that is quite unique and different. When it comes to this role, it is very pensive. It is very contrasting compared to Lily's role, and the 2 of them are a good balance on stage. stage, he's also a bit more confident in his approach towards her, and she is the one who is kind of like escaping what both of them were expecting to happen, for them to kiss and be together on that night, and she's kind of like finding ways to go around there, whereas like he's very much pursuing her up to the point where there's like some really serious seducing scenes at the very beginning of the play, which everyone was like, whoa, is this as far as they're going? So I think he really leaned into a lot of stereotypes of the role that he's playing, and there's some sort of heaviness that is lingering around for his character, which there is a reason for, but I think he kind of like is very good at taming his temperament and being a bit more withdrawn. So I think that as a pairing, I would never put these two together, but they work. They really work on stage. And again, if you're a fan of either of these actors, I think that seeing them live was something that I was really excited about. And I think that you will feel the same if you like them. The second thing that I liked about this play is that it's only 90 minutes. So it's not one of those plays that you come and stay for 2.5 hours and then you have an interval. It is very much as soon as it kind of picks up the pace, you are in it, and then it's rolling until it's done. And if they had an interval, it would be really hard to re-engage where the story left off, because at times it really felt that the dialogues were becoming slightly more superficial and not adding a lot to the narrative. So it's great that it's a compact play. It's great that it is a 90 minutes of plot twists and different things that happen, and you are fairly engaged for as long as it kind of lasts, and then basically it is time to go home, which I think is great, because all of the shows in the West End these days are, you know, upwards of 2.5 hours, and sometimes you just want to go switch off for a little bit. And I think that there's a little bit of that TV show type of ease of watching experience, which I appreciated. Which brings me to my third reason why this could be a show worth checking out, and that is that it's really easy to watch it. It doesn't feel like something that is too heavy and that's gonna make you leave the theater thinking about the world and everything in so many different ways. I think it's a story that does have resonance with most people, in a sense that how strangers and those interactions that are seemingly meaningless can really bring something new to your life. And there's that element of maybe like wondering, did you pursue decisions in your life actively, or they just kind of like happen to you? But it does not really make you feel like you have a lot to think about after it. So from that perspective, I think that there is an element of theater that sometimes just should be entertaining. And I think that there are different types of theater goers, and depending on how you're feeling, you might be up for something like that. You just want to go to see a show, be entertained, and then, you know, go home and not think about it. Whereas like I feel like a lot of the times the shows start certain conversations that it's really hard to leave at the theater, and then you just kind of take them with you as you go. But when it comes to this show, I don't think that there was a lot for me to think about or linger upon. It just happened. I watched the show, I enjoyed elements of it, and then I was off home, and that's it. That's where it ends. On the flip side, the three reasons why I feel that this maybe show did not deliver to its big promise, especially when you have these big names, is I kind of hinted at it when I was talking about the performances of Lily and Alvaro. It is pretty much that they are typecast in the roles that they have previously to a degree delivered in the TV shows that they're in, and I think that there is good justification for it. But at the same time, I kind of like didn't feel that they were given a chance as actors to go beyond what they can do. And I feel like it is a missed opportunity, because both of them clearly are good actors and they can deliver much more, but it's almost that the material and the way that the play is set allowed them just to maneuver as much as they can. And as a viewer, I just felt that I was a little bit annoyed for them that they weren't given more to work with in terms of dialogues, in terms of just the storyline and certain elements. Like I feel there could have been almost like another layer of the story that could have been explored, but it just wasn't. So that's worth bearing in mind. It's not one of my favorite shows that I've seen this year. It's definitely not the worst either. So it's like somewhere in the middle. And I think when you have these like big names, you normally expect something mind-blowing and be like, wow, this is the best thing that I've seen. And I'm sure that this show will find the right way to the viewers and theater goers that they want to attract with these two big stars. But maybe it just wasn't my cup of tea when it comes to almost like seeing Lily Collins deliver the exact same role like in Emily in Paris. I really wish I've seen her in something that would really stretch her acting and that will showcase her almost in a completely different light. But that wasn't the case, and it wasn't the case for Alvaro Morte. The second reason why I wasn't really impressed is also the dialogue and the themes that were discussed that was sometimes feeling just a bit superficial. It didn't feel that any of the points that they they talked about have gone deep into. Like there were, as mentioned, a lot of either loss or relationships or political stuff that kind of were reinforcing stereotypes of an American and of a European, reinforcing the stereotypes of, you know, certain relationship dynamics, and kind of it felt at times like the dialogue was there just for the sake of talking or just for the sake of filling the gaps in this narrative, but then it didn't really deliver on that deeper resonance with the roles and deeper resonance with the story. And I just feel that maybe the story needed something else to captivate me as well, or certain elements that I don't want to spoil, but for example, loss is a really big part of this story. Like there could have been just a slightly deeper dig into it, or even if we're just like focusing on that element of like how strangers can impact your life and really change the course of your life, like I feel that there could have been just slightly more deeper resolution of all these things that have been like brought up. Like it just felt sometimes that things were either like clipped off too soon, or they were just like left at that superficial level and then we move on to the next thing. So there were like a lot of different ideas that were kind of scattered around, but then when it comes to combining them all in something that is like cohesive and strong, the story was there, but maybe the depth wasn't for me. And the third reason why I don't think you should see this play is that it is expensive. I have just checked and the cheapest tickets right now are £95, and I paid my ticket also around £90, and this is one of the most expensive tickets that I paid for this year. And bear in mind, I'm going to see 52 shows. This is definitely among the top 5, but my experience of the play and just generally what I've seen, I don't think that I would rate as highly as some of the best shows that I've seen. And that is kind of where the discrepancy of this piece comes from, and I think it is to be expected because West End is drawing more audiences in by offering to see people such as Lily and Alvaro, and there is already a formed fan base around these people. But in return, this does increase the ticket prices to the level of actually not being able to afford to go and see it. So if this was a show that you can see for £30-40, I'd be like, okay, go check it out. I think, you know, that you will get something out of it and you'll be entertained, that it will be a fun watch and you're gonna get to see your favorite actors or like people that you admire from TV shows, then I'll be like, yes. But for £90, hour and a half play that is typecasting these two famous actors into roles that you probably have already seen them in on a Netflix show, I think that it's just a little bit of a stretch. This is just my opinion. There are plenty of people who have really enjoyed this show and have given it 4 or 5 star reviews. I think most of the reviews and critics are kind of agreeing around 3 or 2 stars, and if I needed to put the star rating on this, I think I'll be probably leaning in between 2 to 3 stars. I do think there are like some interesting elements when it comes to this and staging and really beautiful scenes in the show, and seeing these two make their Western debut was pretty special. But would I go and see this show again, or would I kind of like recommend it to people? I think it really boils down to how much you like these two, and then if you want to see them, I think you will find the show more enjoyable than just seeing purely the show for the sake of the show and for the sake of the story. I hope this has helped you make up your mind, but if you don't want to pay those £90, then I have some tips for you how to secure cheap tickets in this video here.